Right, I've got it.
That's absurd.
Hello, and welcome to Junkball Media, a video series that's part review, part retrospective, but mostly just stuff. Like the Batsuit. Yes, Bruce Wayne's crime-fighting outfit. Batman has had more TV and movie adaptations than any other superhero. And with each new interpretation of Batman, there's been a new Batsuit that embodies their version of Batman. Since it made its first appearance on screen in 1943, it has had over 70 years of cinematic history behind it. So let's take a look at each one, and I mean each one, and track its evolution over the decades. This video will focus solely on the live-action incarnations of the Batsuit, so we're skipping the comics and animated versions. Basically, if an actual human being, or Val Kilmer, wore one of these, we'll cover it.
I wasn't talking to you.
There's simply too many variants that appeared in the comics and animated series to cover. But we'll touch on a few if they're relevant to one of the live-action Batsuits. These videos will be broken into separate parts for time reasons. The first part will cover the first 4 decades of the Batsuit on screen. So atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed, this is the Batsuit's cinematic evolution. The first live-action Batsuit appeared in the 1943 Columbia serial. Here's how Batman was drawn in the comics in 1943. By this point, the Batsuit in the comics had evolved since its first appearance in 1939 and settled into the familiar look it would have for the next several decades. The 1943 Batsuit is faithful to this style, with all the familiar components, the only minor difference being that the cape and cowl were 2 separate pieces, whereas they were a single continuous piece in the comics. Since the cape was a separate piece from the cowl, it wasn't fastened in place. It would flop around and constantly get in the way. At one point, the cape completely flies off during a fight scene. As for the cowl, it doesn't fit on the head very well, and nothing appears to be holding it in place. The front mask is basically a flap covering the actor's face. Since there's nothing holding the mask in place over the actor's face, the eye holes were continually misaligned with the actor's eyes, and likely very difficult to see through, which might explain the multiple cars that Batman crashes over the series. The ears were another problem area. Here, the ears are cones coming out of the top of the head, but the cowl in the comics had already adopted the shorter ears on the sides of the head. The tips of the ears were constantly uneven too, so the on-screen Batman looked more like Batmite than Batman. The yellow oval encircling the bat chest emblem hadn't been introduced yet in the comics, so this bat chest emblem was simply a black bat silhouette. However, it has white accent lines implying the fingers on the wings. The trunks were pulled up pretty high by today's fashion standards, but they were appropriate for the time. Like smoking indoors and uninhibited racial slurs.
A Jap!
A Jap!
Overall, this Batsuit's construction quality was pretty poor. At one point, when Batman removes his gloves, you can see actor Lewis Wilson's wedding ring. We'll get back to that later. At another point, when Batman is grappling across a power line, you can see the Batsuit's gray leotard stretched and pulled out of place.
Don't worry, we'll be back.
Not exactly. The next Batman production would be 6 years later, and with a completely new cast. The next on-screen Batsuit would arrive in 1949. By 1949 in the comics, the arched eyebrows were being used more often, so the cowl had a bit more expression. The costume designers made improvements to the cowl this time around. There's an inner structure to keep the nose and face mask in place better. However, the cowl retains the same cone-shaped ears used in the 1943 suit. This time, the ears were angled even more outwards, which made them look more like horns. The cape is a bit longer this time, though the cape still hindered the movement of the actors, and got in the way during fight sequences. The bat emblem is similar to the 43 suit, but now it's larger. It's cut from a different template, so the shape is slightly different, and the white stitching is more pronounced, with accents around the head. The utility belt is just a strap around the waist, and it's constantly getting pulled out of place.
What of it?
Actor Lewis Wilson's wedding ring is visible here. What is its connection to another long-running action hero? Chew on that, and the answer's coming up after this break.
It's even funnier than the Joker. I can't stop laughing.
So the question is, what is this ring's connection to another long-running action hero? And the answer is, Lewis Wilson, who played Batman, was married to Dana Nuttall, and they had a son named Michael G. Wilson. Dana Nuttall would later marry Albert R. Broccoli, the producer of the James Bond franchise. Her son Michael G. Wilson would later inherit the Bond franchise. He has produced every proper Bond movie since Moonraker. What more can be said about this Batsuit? It's possibly the most famous version of the Batsuit ever to appear on screen. The yellow oval behind the Bat chest emblem debuted in 1964. The 1966 Batsuit would mimic the comics closely with this yellow oval, shorter cowl ears, and contrasting shading on the front of the mask. This would be the best designed and constructed Batsuit to date, with actual molding holding the cowl in shape. The rest of the Batsuit would also be the least constricting, allowing the actors more mobility during fight scenes. A pink version of the cowl was featured in the episode The Contaminated Cowl, where the Mad Hatter uses a radioactive spray on it. Though the filming model of the cowl would be a dark satin blue, a prototype cowl, used for the actor's screen tests, was purple. Here you can see two different eyebrow arches. It's possible the costume department was still experimenting with different expressions and put two different eyebrow arches on this one for comparison's sake. You can also notice the ears are a lot taller in this version than the final design that they would use on the series. This bat emblem appeared to be an adhesive vinyl patch. It's much smaller than the previous bat chest emblems. The screen test prototype was larger, but didn't include the yellow oval. The suit would appear outside the television series.
Somebody yelled, "Hey, Batman, what are you waiting for?" With a zap and a crack, I began my attack. After that, they were flat on the floor.
It would also appear after the series cancellation.
It's Batgirl.
Quick, Batgirl, untie us before it's too late.
In this 1973 PSA from the US Department of Labor regarding equal wages for women.
Same job, same employer means equal pay for men and women.
No time for jokes, Batgirl.
It's no joke.
Old friend, the years have not been good to you. This Batsuit would appear again in 1979 in Legends of the Superheroes. It was a variety show with a loose narrative. Speaking of loose, the cowl is loosely worn over the cape this time, and it's missing the blue square over the nose. The chest emblem is visibly wrinkled, and since this was shot on video with practically no production value, you can see the mic unit here. It was possible that the cowl was loose around the neck to conceal the mic. Otherwise, it was there to conceal a condition most men fight after 40, fat neck. There's plenty more Batsuits to hit up in the same detail as these.
You want something special, huh?
Check out Junkball Media for part 2, where we'll hit up Batsuits from the 80s and beyond. If they're not up yet, sorry.
Well, I'm sorry, sir.
Being sorry is stupid.
Tap that subscribe button to stay in the loop for when they're uploaded. Either way, thanks for watching.
So long, suckers.